Chaco, if you had to share one thing that you learned from the episode of today, what would you say?
That's a very good question. I think for me, it is that the closer you are to yourself, the more you can actually achieve. And you, Andres?
Well, for me, there are many things to choose between. But I really liked how she explained her story on how to build a brand in social media and the key points that are required and the strategies. I believe that was super insightful.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just to choose between many other things. No, like I don't know.
I mean, she went from building a business to actually becoming now an influencer
Indeed,
herself.
indeed.
It's a very interesting story from food development, food technology background.
Content creation, she gives really good tips, and I think that is something also that I would really recommend people for to listen the episode.
Tell them.
Okay, then let's cut the shit. Dear listeners, we leave you with a conversation with Wendy Luong, or maybe as you know her, Wendy, the food scientist.
Wendy, thank you for coming to Tomorrow's Bites. You're in this space, I would say, where you're now. You developed yourself really quickly. In more than a year, you are now at the stage that you're widely known online in the scene. But I can introduce you. But I think it's fair that you just introduce yourself to the audience. So, Wendy, how would you describe yourself?
Yes, I'm Wendy, the food scientist. And I think I will always be a food scientist. I'm a huge foodie. My life is all about food. It has always been. And I'm really grateful that I can work in this space and really work on my passion every day. I'm creative. I think I'm really, I would say, really passionate about everything I do. So that is why I really had to make it into a success rather quickly.
So when you were young, you already saw this passion in certain things if you look back?
Yes, definitely. So my parents, they are Cantonese Vietnamese, and in this culture, it's all about food. So you don't say that you love each other. You will ask, have you eaten yet? So I grew up with this culture, and every time we would eat together, the whole table would be full of food. And my dad, he used to be a chef. So at home, we would always cook together. So yes, food has always been there, and it will always be.
I am wondering, a lot of people would associate love for food a lot of times to developing maybe a career with cooking, but you decided to look at it in a more technical way, no? In the food science, food technology. What was the reason behind taking that decision on going more in the technology science side?
I was a huge nerd. So I loved science. I loved chemistry. So in high school, that was my favorite subject, chemistry and physics and mathematics. So I had the food as a passion, but also like this little nerd that wanted to do something more. And actually my parents, they didn't like me to be a chef because it's hard work. And my parents, they never had the chance to go to college. So that was something that I wanted to do. So go to college and learn more. And I found this study in Wageningen and I fell in love instantly. So during it was like an open day or walk along day. And I knew, okay, this is what I have to do.
Okay, one moment. We want to take not even 30 seconds of your time. First of all, we hope that you are enjoying this episode and we are so thankful that you are listening. But we have a little request to make.
Yes, and that little request is to leave us a review on the platform that you are listening to right now, because via that we can reach a broader audience with these great stories. Thanks a lot, and now back to the episode.
I'm just wondering, but looking to your career or how you developed, you first did a bachelor's in food technology and then you did a master's that was more related in the part of entrepreneurship. You've always considered yourself a potential entrepreneur, or is that something that you discovered a little bit later in your life?
I think it has always been there. My parents, they were entrepreneurs, not by choice, but because they have to. So they had to build something in the Netherlands, and having their own restaurant, that was one of the ways. So I always knew, okay, I have to build something. I'm not the kind of person to just wait until something is happening. And I clearly had my ideals, or I wanted to create this ideal world. And I thought the fastest way would be just by doing.
What is an ideal world in your words?
Ooh, that's a difficult question. For sure, it would be peaceful. People would be healthy. They like each other. Yeah, there are many ways to that. So I wouldn't say there's one way, but for me, a happy, healthy life would be for sure plant-based.
I can see. Yeah, I mean, you voiced that as well, right? So it's like your passion showing off there as well. I was wondering, and I thought that Anders would say, but now it's actually also the moment to maybe name the restaurant of your parents. If people listening, they should go when they're in the Netherlands.
No, they closed down just before COVID.
Ah,
They were lucky, and it was before I could help them with social media.
okay. I see. Otherwise, you would do it, right?
I would, yeah, for sure. Or maybe one day open a restaurant with my parents, but without the stress that they had.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Then, no, I mean, there was maybe a follow-up question that I wanted to do. That is like, no, you're talking about a happy world and healthy. I think in the end you kind of addressed it, no? Because I wanted to ask, like, in this case, what is the role of food, no, in that perfect world? You said, where does it come for you a little bit, the interest or passion or the love for maybe a more plant-based diet? Is it something also that has been with you all your life, or also something that maybe you developed?
It has always been there. So when I was younger, I didn't want to eat meat, but my parents, they're Chinese. They always told me you have to eat meat, otherwise you will be small. And okay, I'm still small, so it didn't work. But when I turned 18, or no, I think it was before, like when I was like 15, I could decide what I wanted to eat. So I just gradually started eating more plant-based. And it was when I turned 18, I moved out to go to university, and then nobody could tell me what to eat anymore. So I think I don't really remember, but it was just a logical step. No meat, and then no dairy, no eggs, kind of eased my way into that.
And then what fascinated you about the food technology studies? Like, what was then the moment that said, here's where I can, well, this is actually what I should study, because with that, I create knowledge, I gain knowledge, and I can use that in my career that I really want to.
Yeah, so I think as a kid, when I walked into the supermarket, there was so much food. So I was really fascinated about it. And I actually wanted to create a healthier chocolate bar. I loved Kinder Bueno as a kid, but obviously it wasn't healthy. So I thought, okay, if I go to Wageningen and then study, I have all the knowledge to create a healthier snack that I love and eventually could give to my kids.
You're sweet. I've always said that if there was a movie that represents in some way food innovation or what food technology means, no, I always said that it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, no, because it shows you all the kind of innovations that Willy Wonka was trying to do with, and I think they even mentioned the thing of the chocolate that does not get you fat or something like that. That is also something for me, is like really the common imagery of what would be the ultimate purpose of the food innovation, not trying to find like the perfect spot between a really tasty snack that has all the health or market properties, in some way.
Yeah, exactly. And also the joy it can give you.
Yeah, in the end, that shall be a little bit the focus on food in the end. While you were doing your master's, I see that you started with your first venture, no? That there would be Green Bakers.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit what it was about and how you tried to put a little bit your ideas and your passion into this venture?
Yeah, so I think I was 22 at the time or 21, and I've always wanted to do something. And when I turned vegan, it was really difficult to bake. I loved baking. I've baked all my life, and suddenly I couldn't use eggs anymore, which is a very technical aspect. So I started creating and turning all the recipes that I knew into plant-based products. And it was during that time that I developed baking mixes to make it easier for everyone to bake plant-based at home. So it wasn't like an egg replacer. I learned that if you would reformulate like a banana cake, you wouldn't need the eggs. And I did that for many products. And all you need to add was water or soy milk, add some oil. And I launched this product in the Netherlands together with my brother and sister because I knew how to develop a product, but I knew nothing about marketing and building a website, a web shop. And my brother, he studied mechanical engineering. So he built the website, and my sister, she was studying marketing. So it was really a natural way to start with my siblings. So we did this for around 2 or 3 years. So we would make all the baking mixes and then sell them on our websites. And this was also the moment I started content creation. It was with my sister. So she would record everything and I would do some baking videos with the baking mixes to teach everyone what you can do with the baking mixes.
Yeah, wow.
I'm going to say one thing that probably Wendy doesn't know because I also realizing now when you say the name out loud and I have read it, like we used to buy Green Bakers quite a lot.
Really?
Yes, we like not quite a lot, but there's a here close to my workplace. There is a vegan bakery, and they used to buy Green Bakery. My partner, she
Yeah.
loves also baking, and sometimes I thought funny, and we really liked one of the. I think the first that we bought was carrot cake.
Yes.
And then we bought a couple more, and then one day it was not in the store anymore, and I was like, that's sad.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to hear you love them because we were really small, but still very known within the plant-based space. And besides the web shop, we would also sell to many stores.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was like, when you were saying it, I was like, oh my god, they're Green Bakers now. Now it really triggers something in my mind.
And did you actually explain why it was not needed to use eggs?
Yeah, so what I explained before, that the baking mixes, they were developed this way that you don't need the eggs for the structure. So people really like to overcomplicate. So I would read blogs, food blogs, and they would say use flaxseed or applesauce or banana, but it's not needed. You just have to reformulate and rethink, build from the ground up that it needs to be plant-based, and then you won't notice anything.
But then you took then a carrot cake, and then you you did the testing all, and then you look into what was needed in the mixture to eventually get the same texture and flavor as a carrot cake, but with the minimum ingredients that is used.
Yes. Yeah. So
can you explain me the first product then? How did that went? Like you selected which product, and then how long did the testing take you? And
we launched with 3 products. So this was all during a summer holiday. We had 6 weeks, and I already had my favorite recipes. So it was banana cake, carrot cake, and chocolate chip cookies. I also had apple cinnamon cake. Okay, so it didn't take long. I think it was a lot of testing, but not testing the recipe, but testing it as someone else would make it. So I would make errors on purpose. So someone wouldn't measure 50 milliliters, but would just take a cup of water and then add it in. So I kind of tweaked the baking mixes to make it foolproof. So it would work with those small mistakes as well.
What was a challenge that you were facing or that you faced at the beginning of starting with Green Bakers?
Challenge is always marketing.
In what sense?
Getting yourself out there and building your audience. It has always been the most difficult. I think for any brand, if you're just starting out, you will probably think I have the best product and everybody will buy from me, but it's not the case. You have to be there online for sure, or in stores. You have to be present before people can buy. If nobody knows who you are, they won't buy your product and they won't know how amazing it is. So people also have to try it. So I went to lots of markets and then I would bake some samples. So people would try and they want to make it at home.
Was it easy to convert people trying into people buying? Was it like a immediate relationship or there was a struggle also there?
And for the markets, it actually was immediate because I would be there and people would taste it and that they would love it. But if you would say it's different online, if you would say this is a plant-based cake, then it is more difficult to convert. People have to click and then buy it and then try. And then maybe they will buy again. But with plant-based products, people have to try it first.
You said that that's when you started creating content. How did you see that first experience of trying to reach the people online, how to create the content? How was for you that part of the journey?
It was quite scary. At first, I just wanted to be, I did want to be the face behind the brand, but it would work. People, they don't like to buy from brands anymore. They like to buy from people. So you have to put yourself out there and you have to get used to it.
And then for you, where did you start with? Because I suppose it will be recipes.
Yeah, so it would be part recipe and part the baking with the baking mixes. So you cannot sell all the time. There needs to be a balance of giving away free recipes and then people will like you. And then you can start selling. But if you only sell or trying to push, people will find you annoying or they don't like to follow you. So that is why brands, they have less followers than personal brands. And this is like one of the strategies I'm working on now because I know how difficult it was to build Green Bakers, to find customers. So now I'm actually doing it the other way around. So first giving away for free 1 year and then start selling.
It's good that you mention this, and there's a valuable lesson that you have been shared before. I think because we have not mentioned what you're doing currently, and we had about the baking mixes. In between, you have something else. What made the switch to what you're doing now, and what are you doing now? When
Yeah, so obviously it was a roller coaster. Early 20s, I just wanted to explore. I wanted to see what is out there, what is possible. So with Green Bakers, after 3 years, we decided to stop because we graduated. And then I think for 6 months, I would continue on my own because my siblings, they didn't have this passion for entrepreneurship. They just wanted to learn and do stuff, but they are more comfortable now with their jobs. So I would continue on my own, but I noticed that I love creating. I wanted to launch a new baking mix every week, but you can't. So I actually looked into something else. Something was missing. I just couldn't put my finger on it. So I thought, okay, maybe I want to do something that is closer to my cultural heritage. So I wanted something more Chinese. And that's why I started a second brand after Green Bakers, Mingling. So it was still bakery. It was all about modern Asian bakery. So I would sell at markets because then I could create something new every day. But I found out that I'm not a baker. I like baking, but I don't like baking a lot. So after 1 year, I already knew, okay, this is not for me. I need to pivot again, do something else. So after that, So this was 1.5 years ago. After that, I just wanted to create. I started as a consultant, creating products for brands. So I would work with only plant-based brands to develop new products for them to launch. And I did this for 1 year and I actually loved it. But something was still missing. I had to be more creative. So during the past year, I also started something creative, which is content creation online. I always wanted to share my recipes because my friends, they were always asking for it. And I did write all my recipes down. So it went really naturally. It was like 1 year ago, I started posting one recipe every day and just get myself out there so I could do something creative besides my job, which was mostly strategy.
Would it be fair to say that at first you were seeing it as like some sort of hobby, no? Something to have aside and say, well, I have my job, I am earning money with my job, but I miss this creative part. I'm gonna start sharing recipes. Like, just as you were like using a lot of a strategy on the way that you were working, there was a strategy in starting with your account in Instagram and social media.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to reach 1 million followers in 3-4 years. That was my goal. Not for the fame, but because I have so many business ideas that I want to get out there. And I think if you have your personal brand, then you can launch a lot and a lot faster. So that is the strategy behind why I started building this personal brand. Because what I've seen during my early days, I would go from one company to another and then launch new businesses because that is the most fun for me, the creative part. But I couldn't continue. I got bored and then I had to move on. So I think this is a safe path. Like if I would bet on this, then at some point I can create more.
It's fascinating that such a goal can actually push you to do the, let's say, extreme, right? Because now you are fully into it. Like now you have said goodbye to the other projects. I'm just sometimes wondering like what makes founders like really going, and is it that big dot on the horizon that is just there to reach?
I'm not sure. Like I've always been extreme. Well, I don't think I'm extreme, but if I would talk about it with other people, for example, eating plant-based, people might consider it extreme. But for me, it's easier to choose the extreme because then it would be easier to start and continue. Because if I would say I want to eat less meat, less dairy, what is less? Or stop drinking alcohol. For me, it's easier to just stop, just choose for the extreme and then succeed.
I am really curious because I'm pretty sure there are many listeners, there are founders that for them social media is like a mess, a whole mysterious world that they want to because they feel they need to be there, but they have no clue. No, you mentioned a lot the part of the personal brand, for example, and I think we agree that is powerful. I don't want to say tool, maybe asset that you can leverage
Assets.
to your goals and to your freedom, and that is fascinating, as Shako was saying. But then, for example, when you said you started doing recipes, was your idea then, I'm going just to do recipes until one video it just hits it because the algorithm is
You tweak little bits here and there, like, is that it?
No, it's not how it happened. For 7 months, the first 7 months, I would post a recipe and video every single day. And it was last February that I got burned out because I was doing all of this besides my consultancy job. So I would film, edit, post during the weekends and evenings. It was my life. I didn't have any free time. So I went on holiday and I couldn't post every day. So I was away for 3 weeks, and that was the time when I only had 1,000 followers. So it took me 7 months to get to 5,000. Then I knew I had to do something different, because obviously when you are on social media, you will look at other people. And I would be influenced, trying to be an influencer. And that is where it went wrong. So I took a break for 3 weeks and came back in April. I started posting what I wanted to post. I didn't look at others. At first, I was afraid of being too boring. As a food scientist, I have so much to share, but I was afraid that people wouldn't like my videos because it's too difficult or too boring or doesn't need to feel like a lecture. But I just did it. I posted those recipes, those videos, and that was when I went viral multiple times. It was because it was different.
And what did you do then that made it different?
Well, I changed the location where I film. That is one. So I used to film at home. I live in a tiny house, so it's really cozy, and people like it when they can relate to you. So if I would cook something in my home, people would feel, okay, I can do this to myself at home. But now I changed the location in my kind of food lab, and that is different. And I was afraid to do that because it's not relatable. So I think that is something that works. Then second would be more educational. So instead of sharing only recipes, I focus on sharing the explanation. So why does it work and why do you add this? And the third is doing more from scratch. So that is what I'm known for. So before I would share just recipes I would cook, and now I share more like products, like how I would develop a product as a food scientist, but then at home. So how do you make your own seitan? So meat replaces, or your own tofu or flavored tofu, soy milk. I think this is what people like, but it's still a mystery, right? I don't know the algorithm. I don't know what happened. I don't know why and what works and what doesn't, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Do you go through these, like a lot of creators go through this process of they spend a lot of time in a video, they think that's gonna rock, that syncs. Then one random video is like that, it was like an old, like last minute idea because they needed to post something. All of a sudden that's viral. And it's like, what the heck?
I have been in this.
What am I doing?
Yeah, I heard it before, but I haven't experienced it because I'm a perfectionist.
No,
So
you do.
all my videos, I think they should go viral. Like I put so much time in every single video, but this is also a challenge, right? Not all your videos can be a masterpiece. They shouldn't, because it's not sustainable. I cannot post every day anymore, and I don't. So I scaled down to 3 per week to keep the quality like as I want it. Yeah, so that is what I have experienced.
I can relate to that, I think. We have been, I mean, you can describe yourself as an extreme person, because a burnout, facing that part, is also the extreme side of, hard work and dedication. So, yeah. But, like so you just do now really, now you just explained actually 3 things that really helps now with the videos that you create. And if you look then at your videos that went most, let's say, viral, do they relate to the quality that you think that you have been creating? Like, so your most viral one is also, you say like, yeah, this, I spent a lot of time in it. This is the most quality, complete piece of content that I've been creating, because I know it's the one of the tofu, right?
Yeah, the boiling tofu. I would say the quality is equal to my other videos, but it's something new. It's the boiling tofu. So it's a method that has been used for centuries, and it's one that my mom taught me, but I didn't believe her at first. So for years, I wouldn't try it because she's Chinese. She would just tell me, you have to do this. It works. But I am a scientist. I need to find the source. So I would ask her, where can I find some proof? So I just ignored
Ask your
her.
grandma, like if she said it in the past, like.
Yeah, exactly. But I have learned that, of course, there's the scientific way and there's this trial and error way. But I decided to try it, and it really changed the tofu experience. And it was so good that I had to make a video. And this video, because it was something new, like content creators, they tell you to freeze your tofu or press your tofu. But obviously they aren't Chinese, or they didn't grow up with the tofu. So I think that is something new. So I mentioned food scientist and I mentioned Chinese mom. So people would believe it. And this one video got me 100,000 followers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's it's insane.
That's
It's almost
then you're gonna think like I shouldn't post every day. I should just post the quality that is out there because that converts.
yes. Well,
Wow.
still mystery.
Wow. What
I guess
okay, so explain me a bit why should you boil tofu? What does boiling do to tofu?
Yeah, so you boil it in salted water, just like you boil pasta.
Mm-hmm.
And you can boil the whole block or just in pieces. And because of osmosis, the water will naturally go out. And then salt, it diffuses in. So you would have a base flavor for your tofu. So instead of it being bland, you will have a bit of like salt and flavor, and it would also remove a bit of the beanie flavor that people don't like. And you have this blank canvas that you can use for any dish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm gonna use this. I am that person that says it has this beanie. I don't like it. Like when I just dry it and I cut it and I fry it, it's
I'll send you some recipes.
great.
You
Oh, I have
cannot,
to watch videos,
yeah,
right?
you cannot dislike tofu.
Okay, I cannot
It's
dislike
illegal.
it.
It's it's a European regulation that they're starting now with that. So now, joking aside, I think something that a lot of people also that starts with social media that is really curious about it is like, okay, but what do I post? How is for you that process? How do you decide what goes in a video?
I would say if you're just starting out, you have to post what you already know. Like there's so much that you already know that people are waiting for. So I have this list. I think it's more than 200 ideas of posts, something that I can share. And it grows every day because whenever I have an idea, I just write it down and then I will have more ideas. So I think I'm never out of ideas. I'm only out of time.
Did you have to overcome that barrier of, yeah, well, everybody shall know this, no? Or I can explain this thing, but isn't it that obvious?
Yeah.
Sometimes the content creator, I believe that myself, sometimes when I think of posts for LinkedIn or stuff like that, it's like, yeah, but talking about this is like talking about the sky. Really, I'm not discovering the world to anybody. Then out of your bubble, you realize that, as you said, no, that you have much more knowledge than what you believe.
Yeah, exactly. Still struggle with this. So then I would just ask people, but then not ask my food science friends. They obviously know, but just outside of the bubble.
And now you have a followers group, so you can even put it in your stories, like to test out if people know certain things.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Another thing that I was thinking is like, well, imagine we have a founder with food, they're developing, or they want to have a ready to drink brand. Now they're really popular now, for example. And they say, okay, I need to use social media. And you're saying it's really important to have a personal brand. Is that then that they start need to build their own personal brand before they can put their product outside, or do they need to build both at the same time in a way that is synergistic? How do you envision that?
For sure, build in public. So that is something that is very popular at this moment. So founders, they would start their business, but start recording the whole process. So the development process, building a brand, your logo, colors, everything you can show people already before you launch. So usually it could take like 1 year from development to launch with the product and the brand. So people would already follow you for 1 year and then you launch. But of
Yeah,
course
and you
you
can
need to be
start raise
comfortable.
awareness now in some way. You can start building out no, waiting list or something like that that helps you to have some sort of validation that those things in the end have value for maybe a person that it has some sort of how would I put it, more ambitious project that needs funding, external funding. It's easier to go to somebody and say, hey, I have 250 people that already told me that they would like to have this product. Maybe you would like to chip in 30,000 euros and then I can develop it. No, like it's much easier when you can leverage the social media as a way of raising awareness of the existence of your idea.
Yeah, exactly. And in general, we don't need more products. We have enough food products. So if you want to do something new, you have to build this brand that people will love, and you have to talk to a specific group of people.
And I believe that something even more important is the fact that we don't need more food products, but aside of that, the food market, there are 5 companies that practically earn 99% of the revenue that is done. What means that everything that you launch is easily made a copy by some of these companies, and they have much more resources than you. But in order for these companies to decide to do so, it means that you are already successful. The way that people will stick to your success instead of going to the first copycat or the first other idea that comes from Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, whatever, is the fact that they trust your brand or they like your brand. The fact that they have some sort of connection with you, because not only you were first, you're also like kind of building community with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Wendy, do you actually really research your audience? Like, is your content now gonna based on their desires, pain points? If you make a product, it can be easier. In your case, it's of course recipe sharing and all these things. Are you looking into this?
Yes, I'm collecting data. So on social media, you can just see where people come from and the age group. So it's really useful. And at this point, I'm thinking about new ways to help them. Because now I want to build a platform besides the social media part. I mean, that would be the start where people get in contact first. And then at some point, I want to move them to my own platform. So how I would imagine it is that people are able to talk to each other. So what I noticed in my comment section is that people ask questions to each other and then they talk about how to proceed. So I want to build this platform where people can cook together, like not physically, but virtually. So if you would have a question, someone else can answer and you can share ideas, because like my followers, they are super creative. They love to cook from scratch and they have numerous reasons for it. So some, they live somewhere where they cannot find the plant-based food that they want, or it's too expensive, and it's simple things that in the Netherlands are really easy to find. So it would be soy milk or tofu, and then they can make it at home. Or some, they do it because it's for saving money. And one group just wants to be healthier. So they don't, especially Americans, what I noticed is that they don't trust the supermarket food anymore. So they rather cook from scratch if they can. So yeah, I'm finding ways to facilitate that and making it bigger than just me. So it's about this whole community that I'm trying to build.
Is there any feedback you have received from your community that has shocked you or has changed the way you do things in a way? It doesn't have to be negative feedback? It's just like can be something in particular. Do you have like that in your head?
It's not necessarily one comment, but I get a lot of messages also in private of people who tell me that I really changed their lives. And I still cannot imagine how, because it feels so natural to me to just share what I know. But people really, really follow my advice and ideas, and they feel healthier and happier, which is my goal for them. So I'm really happy they also sent me the message, because otherwise it's just me and the camera and me trying to share some recipes without feedback. And so this gives me like also hope and the courage to continue. It's a huge leap of faith to go all in and try to build this. But the community really shows me that this is what they want.
How do you face negative comments if you had?
I still don't know how. It happens a lot, more than you know, and I'm really sensitive. So I find it really hard to deal with the negative comments. So I have multiple platforms. There are different people on different platforms. So on Instagram, I'm the most active, and I read every comment, and those are mostly positive. But on TikTok, I don't read any comment anymore, because people can be very rude. So I decided I couldn't filter the good and the bad comments. So at some point I had to decide not to read them at all for that platform. And for YouTube is very kind in general until you reach an audience outside of your audience.
Yeah, when I was thinking, no,
Exactly. When you
carnivore,
go to
stuff
the
like that.
carnivores, right?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, into ways like the brainwash and stuff like that. No, they want to have weaker men or whatever.
Yeah, of course you can have your opinion, but I have to correct people if they are wrong. If people say that certain foods are unhealthy, if they aren't, I just need to correct them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at least if they don't have a solid base to defend it, no?
That's the scientist in you, right?
Yeah, but it takes a lot of energy. So I'm
Yes.
really positive person. I like to be in a positive energy, but these comments, they really get to me. So
Okay,
I still have to find a way.
Let's get out of this. I mean, we have been talking with previous. I think in the far beginning, you asked a similar question to Frank Holleman. I think you asked him about this on this, like negative
Yes,
comments.
I mean, I don't remember if it was exactly like this, but I remember we touched topic.
Yeah,
I think we
Same
talk about the
situation.
like that he was facing something similar. That well, Frank
The
Holleman.
bigger you get, the more you actually get. But you know, you voice yourself also with that certain audience. So there's always another, there's another part that you don't reach. You cannot fit in their beliefs and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm lucky that my community is already commenting for me, so they really defend me and really feels like a community, because usually they are just general attacks on vegans.
Yeah. Then let's move away from this. And let's keep it in the positive side, I hope. I think we're getting also to a bit more the closer side. But before I dive into that, I still don't have time, Andres, on this. Yeah? You mentioned that you're full of ideas, and now already you're thinking about, you have a list of ideas. What is your, let's say, top 3, what you want to do when you reach that 1 million?
I'm actually starting before, because now I don't think that anything will change. Like now I have like around 300,000 followers, and I don't think anything will change if I reach the 1 million. So I'm already happy. So I can start now with all my ideas. So one I already mentioned, it's building this platform, this educational platform that is bigger than me. So that's what I'm working on now. Second, in the future, a cookbook is just, I think, for fun and to have it physically. And third would be, I'm not sure, like, because I started my career with food products, I still love doing that, but we have enough products. So I'm not sure if I will ever launch products. And also, I don't believe in retail anymore because I've developed many products for supermarkets, but you cannot make a healthy product for supermarkets because of the price. It gets too expensive. So in general, what everyone is doing is make it less healthy. So if I would launch my own food product, I would need to find a new system for it. So maybe deliver it directly. Maybe that would be fun to have like this new supermarket, and then I could develop all of those products.
Yeah, that would be awesome, to be
Yeah,
honest.
definitely. I mean, I think that we have
I think
discussed.
Andres shared this with you around supermarkets.
Yeah. I mean, well,
The core
I
business
honestly
model
believe
is
that supermarkets is something that needs to be. It's old-fashioned now. It's not like not old-fashioned in the way of that it doesn't work, but in the
what it
system
deliver.
of a more sustainable food system, supermarkets need to be rethought. There needs to be a rethinking of their role. Caroline Steele in the book Hungry Cities, see there's a really nice reflection on you cannot deny they are necessary or they are important, but you need to define what they're important for. And on your comment on there are enough food products, I agree. It's something that for a long time I agreed a lot. But one thing that I've been realizing is it's true. We don't need food products, but we need brands, at least that certain food products try to make it always more in the positive side, as you were mentioning. Maybe because they don't have like this environment that would help them to deliver this kind of product, they don't exist as much. But of course, there's like 1 million brands of chips, but brands of chips that in some way focus on certain things like payment fairly to the farmers or in some sort of sustainability circular. There are not so many.
You know what one of the things is? Domesticated crops. Like, like these things that we have been over the years actually moving away out of the system. It's not known by the consumer anymore. But there are so many crops and seeds. Like the seed bank of Wageningen is a very big one. And there are several things there still that we don't know as a consumer that we have been eating that in the past. I think for that, if you talk about food products there,
Yeah, and there are many farmers that also have their own brands of chips. For example, that was just coming up because they have chips, they have potatoes, they need to sell them, so they put like their own brand. And I don't think it's bad that there are more of those. I think that it would be bad that there are more, put it in air guides and stuff. More Lay's, no, or more Doritos brands. For sure, we don't need more of those.
Okay, wait, we come to the end of this podcast, and there's always a thing that we do. Two things. One is that we give you the opportunity to ask a question to us. So, Wendy, do you have a firing question for us?
Well, you've talked to many people in this space and they're all inspiring. But I also talked to a lot of more like the consumers who don't have any hope anymore in our future that all will be well. So what would you tell them to give them hope again?
I have to say, I think that first, because I mentioned to another guest that asked us, why shall we believe that there is hope? I think there is hope because there is people working for it. There is people that is working, like you, Wendy, for example, you have like this message and you're trying to people become healthier. And as you said, we are talking with many people in this podcast that definitely have like this mission, and that is what gives hope. But I think hope, just as like, is something that you have it if you work for it. So for consumers, although it's hard, they also need to assume certain responsibilities into building like a food system that brings hope. And that is not like a meaning of pointing fingers, but it's just acknowledging like that we all have a role and that we want, as you were mentioning, Wendy, that there is a supermarket or a marketplace that helps people or that allows brands to put like mission-driven products, then there must be people paying for that. And people needs to assume that that is the price, and that is what will give hope to it. So I think that hope comes from work, both from the different sides and from the part of the industry, as much as there is a lot of problems or whatever, there is people working for it. So I think that is the best example.
Not enough. So one of the things I think, like people like you, people like we can interview and we can give a stage, like need to be shown more. Because still, if you go back to Wageningen and you go and check your classroom where everyone ends into, it's still for the industry itself that has been established. And I think we need a new, like we need people to step up within the industry and develop just new paths. Just like how it goes in the tech scene nowadays, that there's so much more upcoming, There's also this place where everyone wants to be, like Silicon Valley. There's where you create it. It doesn't exist within agri-food, like there's not a place that people say like, oh, I'm going there and I'm going to create like delicious, healthy food products, or, or working with those. Yeah. So it's not only the consumer side. I think within the industry, you need to also develop hope. Yeah. And then the second one, Wendy, because that's the ending. And you have been developing a lot of recipes, so I think this will be or a very easy one or super difficult. What is your favorite food or dish?
Tofu.
Yeah, that's why you have so many
Tofu boiled
recipes
in
around
water
tofu.
with salt.
Yes.
Yeah,
Firsthand.
just simple boiled salted tofu, but homemade tofu. Doesn't need much to taste good.
Okay. Then, Wendy, thanks a lot for the conversation. I think it's been really insightful overall because you provide a perspective that is very important for nowadays founders, more in the part of the social media and the part of the personal brand. Aside of that, I think that you itself inspire hope into what the food industry can be. So,
or where you can go yourself in, right? I think it's also inspirational for people to do personal development, like really thrive to the things they want to.
Indeed. For that, we can only say thank you. Thanks for coming here to share your experience, to share your work. And we only hope the best for you and that you reach 2 million if you want, but that you can start already with your 100 million ideas that you have that for sure are going to make for a better food system.
Thank you for having me.
And if you have green bakers, please send home.